Welcome back, friends, to another reading for the collective. My name's Ross, and I offer these readings every Tuesday and Thursday right here on the YouTubes. So if you've found your way here, then there might be something within this message for you. So let's not waste any time. I know your time is valuable. Let's begin, as we always do, with three intentional breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose or the mouth. You're always at choice here. So breathing in and breathing out. Two more times, breathing in and breathing out. And last time, breathing in and breathing out. So I like to use those breaths to center. And when I'm doing a reading IRL, I'll have another person place their hands on the deck and we'll breathe into the question that they have, the intention of the session. And so I like to do that with you folks here, even though you're not on the other side of the table, you're on the other side of the screen, and that matters. So, what is the message today for the folks tuning in from wherever they are? What is the message? It is the last week of December, a lot of ending energy, and when I was tuning in, I saw a dragon and I was taken to the Chinese zodiac, and we are exiting the year of the snake and entering the year of the horse. And I'm not sure, you want to come up? I'm not sure if that's the wood horse. If something tells me, something is reminding me that it's fire horse, but that is something I know very little about. So if any of that resonates, check that out. We'll start here. The Empress is the card that came out right side up. I'm curious to see the first card, the one that was stuck into my hand. Let's see what we got here. Three of Pentacles. This is a person, and it kind of makes sense with the Empress energy, as we'll see. You're a person who is, or a person who has, I should say, a keen attention to detail in the sense of craftsmanship. We've got this stoneworker, I guess we'll say, mason, is that the correct term? In the maybe the catacombs of a church, creating this three-starred image. And then we have a monk and someone else in a very unique outfit. And this is a card of creativity. And when we see the Empress, there's that idea of tapping into the wellspring of creativity that is all around you. This could also represent an elder, not necessarily a woman, but possibly a woman figure who is going to come into your life, maybe into your creative life, to show you or to maybe re-expose you to something, some passion that you had lost. Give me more about this. What else do we have to say about this? I like to talk about the Three of Pentacles as not being, there we go, not being bogged down by dogma. And it's interesting, the revelation that came through recently was Christianity says God is love, but dogma says only if, or but if, or there's the conditions behind it, the conditions that keep religions going. And Here we have a craftsman who, when you are creating, you are tapping into that same energy as your creator, however you define them. And this is a creator who has been relegated to the depths of this possibly church basement. And it's got to make sure that the designs follow the plans and don't stray too far from what's been preordained. So, talking about this card as a creator card or as a creative card, it also comes with that warning or caution to not get bogged down by the constraints of the medium in which you are creating the art. And then we've got, this is the way they came out, so this is the way we'll read them. We've got the Nine of Cups in reverse and the King of Swords upright. So it's interesting. We've got kind of this female archetype, and the Empress and the Emperor, they do represent the archetypical energies that the kings and the queens represent in the real world. So when we're talking about the Empress, and if a queen came up, like if this were the Queen of Swords instead of the King of Swords, we could see that that was the archetypical energy of the Empress expressing itself in a way that is palpable, palatable, able to be received by society, but it is that full expression of the suit, whichever it would come from. But we've got the king here. We're skipping over the cups here because we'll get to that. But the king, it's interesting that we had the empress, and I was speaking about some mature woman coming into your work to kind of reignite or reestablish or just show you another way of expression of that creativity. Whereas the king can represent an elder adult, a brother, a father, things like that. But with the kings, they are that emperor energy distilled into a form that is palatable, able to be received by society, palatable, palpable, palatable. We'll just stick with able to be received by society. And with the swords being the element of air and the thinking and thoughts, the king can kind of tend toward arrogance, we'll say, if their thinking system isn't respected or understood as readily as maybe they would hope it to be. We can talk more about truth and the the sword and the birds in the background here, but I want to come back to the Nine of Cups reversed. Upright, it is a good time. The work has been done and you're almost resting on your laurels. That's the phrase that came through. And the idea that good work has been done and that you deserve to appreciate it. But it is reversed. And when we see a card reversed, we can just think of that simply as the energy of the card is blocked. So whatever it is when it's upright is blocked. And with the Three of Pentacles starting this spread, it seems to be, it is the idea that, and yeah, it's interesting that we have the Empress and the King split by the Nine of Cups here. So give me a second here. A lot wants to come through. What's blocking the expression isn't necessarily that you aren't being inspired, and it's not necessarily that your way is right and the other ways are wrong. It's the idea that the way you've been creating is no longer sustained by the container in which you are creating. So here you are, a wise person, you're creating, you're doing your thing, and It might be masonry. It very well could be. It could be any of the other trades. It could be woodworking, or it could just be like making a podcast, making food, making shoes. Whatever your creation is represented by this card. And maybe through no fault of your own, you've become bogged down in what a shoe is supposed to look like, what a podcast is supposed to look like, what a certain meal is supposed to taste like, what the ingredients are involved in that. And so the invitation then is to return to that inner source of creation. And maybe that is as simple as going out and spending time in nature. The sun keeps coming in and out, and the wind is blowing here. So it sounds from the wind, it sounds cold outside, but I might go for a walk after this just to kind of get some of the day on me. And who knows what kind of inspiration that will provide, either by something that I see or something that I think. So, again, the invitation here, the medicine here is to step away from any kind of systems and structures that you've outgrown gently. We had that tower card in one of the last readings. So, you know, proceed with caution. Here be dragons. And I think then, if you still find yourself blocked from enjoying the fruits of your labor, then it might be time to examine your thoughts, examine where you are inflexible with your way of thinking. Maybe it isn't so much the dogma and the systems around what a shoe is supposed to look like or what a podcast is supposed to sound like. Maybe it's your own beliefs that have kind of gotten skewed into a dogma or into a mm, receptacle that you're able to fall back onto. It's this idea of a scaffolding providing an idea for you to project your creation onto versus a prison in which to contain yourself in. What do we feel? Do we feel like another card? Do we feel like a symbol? Do any of the divine masculine want to come out? No, we might just wrap it up today. Keep this one short and sweet. So, what's the wisdom behind this spread? What do the folks at home need to hear beyond what I've said? And while we're waiting for these cards to come out, I just want to thank you again for being here. And if you find value in these readings, you are welcome to share that abundance, much like this abundance of cards that we have here. One for each, huh? If you do feel uh, like sharing your gratitude, I will leave the links to my Venmo and PayPal in the description. I'm laughing because of it looks like I'm pointing down at my lap. You're welcome to always leave a loving donation there to support this work, but it's never required. But now let's see what wisdom Hafiz has to offer. And we are going to go with all four because with these four different cards we have up here, we can see this as stages, evolutions. It's not necessarily all of the elements, but it certainly is that kind of journey that we can keep coming back to. Like you get boxed in, you're a creator, you get boxed into the structure, so you go and you find a new muse, but something is still blocking you from enjoying that. So it's time to take a look at your own systems and structures and where those have gotten in the way of that abundance, of that creativity. And so you examine those and dismantle them gently, and then you begin again. And it's this kind of repetition. So I feel like each of these cards relates to these steps. And so we'll go like that. And yeah, if we're saying that This is the creator who is learning they're outgrowing their container. The wisdom of Hafiz says transform. 41. 41 reduces to 5. 5 is a number of change and balance. 41. Transform. The snow and I are kneeling on roofs all over the world, and a spring will come to each life, and we will melt back into God. Let go. Surrender whatever form you're clinging to. Like a phoenix carries certainty of rebirth in its breast, go willingly to the fire and surrender whatever is aching to be reborn. Outdated beliefs, old ideas, worn out dreams, burnt out relationships, anything that makes you feel too small, overly tired, or not enough are fire worthy. New life needs the space of transformation in order to take root. Drop your defenses and melt away all that does not belong. Just kind of what we're saying, and it's very interesting. The card, or the description of the card, talks about the snow and I are kneeling on roofs all over the world, and a spring will come to each life, and we will melt back into God. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, we just entered the winter season. We just had the winter solstice, and I was helping co-facilitate a movement meditation with Ecstatic Dance Pittsburgh, and we centered on the idea of rooting in to the ground and pulling from the reserves beneath us, and in this case within us, to do that transformation. So that's just that invitation to transform. Transform, it might have even said that. Yeah, anything that makes you feel too small, any systems or structures that may have served a purpose in the past but now have no need for you, or you have no need for them. It's time to let those go. Again, gently, lovingly. Spring doesn't happen all at once, it's a gradual unfurling from the stillness of winter. Take action. 14. We got some horses there. 3 horses. Oh, we got the Three of Pentacles and the Empress, which is 3. So 333, that might be relevant for someone. And what did I say? We're going into the year of the horse, fire horse, wood horse, some kind of horse. Look that up. That's your homework. Ooh, and interesting, transform was 41 and take action is 14. So when we see something like that, like 4114 or 1441, we could think of it as a situation reversing. So it seems like if you do find yourself in a stuck place, then what is needed for that transformation is you to take action. And I'm sure, as we'll see, take action can be anything from going to take a walk in nature versus maybe trying a different style of stonework or making a different meal, trying a different format for your podcast, those kinds of things. But let's see what the wisdom of Hafiz has to say. 14. Take action. The mind is like a bow, and our thoughts can be golden arrows. Who is not always hunting satisfaction? Who is not beseeching a kiss from the mouth of heaven? Knowing her lips and having a key to her house, let me be your guide. Woo, Hafiz. The time for reflection has passed. Show up, stand up, step up, make that next move. Action has genius fire in it, and it can revitalize and kindle your life, relationships, and projects. Don't hold back. Instead, hold yourself in the alignment of what you know is your highest truth and take action toward embodying that truth through your deeds. This is a card all about an invitation to embody that Empress Empress energy, that creative energy, that we could even say sexual energy. And it's interesting, take action was talking about genius fire, and I think transform had some kind of fire word in it. Go willingly to the fire and surrender whatever is aching to be reborn. Maybe you do that with the genius fire. 17, dance. You know, I'm always going to take that advice. Dear ones, anoint this earth with dance. Dance the rhythm of your joy. Dance the dirge of your pain. Dance your hopes and fears with wild abandon. Move your body in the ecstasy of release, knowing that greater holds you in the womb of its love, and that your very cells dance with the pulse of that embrace. Forget all else and dance yourself free. Whoo-wee! And in this case, I think we'll say that dance is the expression of creation. So, what does a dance look like if you are a stoneworker? What does dance look like if you are a podcaster? What does dance look like if you are a chef? Whatever that is, whatever it was that made you first want to be a stoneworker or made you first want to be a dancer, whatever that is, tap back into that. That's the invitation of the Empress, not so much the sex or the nature itself, but the loving creation behind it all. Ask for help. 23. Interesting, that comes after the king, which just kind of further validates that maybe this is someone outside of you, an older mentor, a father figure, an older brother, that kind of energy, someone who has maybe gone through this and can give you an idea about how to transcend it. Ask for help. Inherent in looking up at the sky or out upon an ocean or at a small stream or upon a flower is in a real way saying, help me be as beautiful as you. We struggle as a culture with vulnerability, believing it makes us weak. But there is magic in letting people see our humanity, our need. Open up the possibility to be met and aided in marvelous new ways. You are not required to do it all. In fact, doing it all strips your essence bare and limits the essential kindness that others desperately need to express. The alchemy of creative synergy can be found in this simple recipe. Offer what you can and ask for what you need. Hmm. And I think that is summed up in these first two cards, the first two cards that came out. Offer what you can, but ask for what you need. And that feels complete. So I just want to say again, thank you for being here. Thank you for stopping by. If something in this spread resonated for you, please feel free to drop a comment where the comments go, not in my lap, down below the video where the comments go. If this feels like it could be shared with someone in your networks, please feel free to do so. Don't forget to do all the YouTube stuff. YouTube stuff. Like, share, subscribe, etc. And Spend some time out in nature today. And until we meet again, I wish you nothing but peace, love, and happiness from this day forward. Take care.